sa kahanginan.
Good day, students. How are you today? I am Teacher Susan. Today, I'm going to guide you in answering the learner's activity sheet in Physical Education 12. But before we start, please prepare your activity sheet, pin, and answer sheets. If you are ready, class, then let's start the fun learning now. Today, we will be learning on the process in analyzing physiological indicators. Are you familiar with the physiological indicators? Physiological indicators such as heart rate, rates of perceived exertion, and pacing are vital to monitor and or adjust the participation efforts of an individual. Perhaps this will help us widen our knowledge on how we are going to conceptualize the theories on physiological indicators. For today's lesson, you are going to know the process of analyzing physiological indicators. Do you want to know the physiological indicators? Then, let's start the discussion now. For today's discussion, our target is to analyze physiological indicators such as heart rate, rates of perceived exertion, and pacing, association with MVPs to monitor and or adjust the participation of efforts, in which our specific targets are the following. First, we are going to identify the physiological indicators in doing the moderate vigorous physical activities. Second is to compute the rate of perceived exertion by using the Borg RPE scale. And lastly, we are going to show a precision on the importance of analyzing the physiological indicator in doing MVPS. Now, let us define the important terms in this lesson. MPE, which stands for Moderate Physical Activity, refers to activities equal in depth to strolling or bicycling. When we also talk about VPE, it stands for Vigorous Physical Activity, which produces huge increases in air intake or heart rate, such as dancing gracefully. The following are the physiological indicators in doing the moderate vigorous physical activities, MVPS. Let us discuss its physiological indicator. The first one is heart rate. It is the wide variety of instances that the coronary heart muscle contracts or beats, average for a selected period, typically 1 minute. Heart rate, together with blood pressure, falls in the widespread elegance of hemodynamic variables that measure moment-by-moment changes in vascular activity produced by the autonomic nervous system beneath situations of bodily exertion, mental stress, or when signs and symptoms of sure disorder approaches are present. The second one is perceived exertion. It is how tough you sense your body is working based totally on bodily sensations scaled throughout workout. These feelings are not objective, but they could provide you with an estimate of your coronary heart rate and your exercising depth region with no device at all. The third one is pacing, a device that permits you to extrude the manner you carry out or hold a workout or hobby so you can effectively bomb strength, tolerance, and function. Some humans with chronic ache markedly lessen their bodily interest as it hurts. Others push to some distance into ache and overdo the hobby. So those are the physiological indicators that are vital to monitor and or adjust participation of effort. At this time, let us proceed to the rating of perceived exertion. The rating of perceived exertion scale is primarily based totally on a range between 6 and 20, with 6 being the least quantity of exertion and 20 being the most degree of exertion. It was established by Swedish researcher Gunnar Borg in 1982 to an individual's degree of exertion all through physical activity. The scale starts at 6, in which you feel like doing nothing, just like standing still or sitting. While in level 9, it is what you sense like while you are on foot at an easy pace. Moderate intensity zone is at level 12 to 14, wherein you feel somewhat hard, as when walking briskly or jogging at an easy pace. At level 15 and above, the vigorous intensity zone, you feel heavy exertion in the same way as running. Now, let's deal about the Borg RPE scale. The Borg RPE scale starts at 6 and goes to 20 because it is created to estimate your actual heart rate during activity. In multiplying your RPE by 10, you can get an estimate of your heart rate. For instance, if your RPE is 10, then 10 times 10 equals 100 beats per minute. The table shows the rate of perceived exertion relating to dancing activity. The RPE from 6 to 20 with effort and description. It will be your guide in determining the physical activity you will engage, specifically related to dance exercises. Example, if your RPE is 6, it means you have no exertion at all. Example, warm-up stretching activities. If the RPE is 7, exerted effort is extremely light. Example, doing arms in lateral position. If RPE is 9, exerted effort is very light. Example activity is waltz dance. For RPE 11, the exerted effort is light. Example, doing arms in lateral position with waltz dance. For RPE 13, the exerted effort is somewhat hard. Example, doing sway balance with a point. If the RPE is 15, the exerted effort is hard. Example is the folk dance koradang. If the RPE is 17, the exerted effort is very hard. Example is the folk dance Kuradang with a turn. If the RPE is 910, the exerted effort is extremely hard. Example is the folk dance Kuradang with a turn and Kontraganza. Now that you have learned about the physiological indicators and rating of perceived exertion, it's time to answer the activity Complete Me. Identify physiological indicators by filling in the missing word. You have 10 seconds to complete the missing terms. For item number 1, blank is how tough you sense your body is working based totally on bodily sensations skilled throughout workout. Your 10 seconds starts now. The correct answer is perceived exertion. For number 2, the wide variety of instances that the coronary heart muscle contracts or beats, average for a selected period, typically 1 minute, is called blank. Your 10 seconds starts now. The correct answer is heart rate. Number 3. Blank is a device that permits you to extrude the manner you carry out or hold a workout or hobby so you can effectively bomb strength, tolerance, and function. Your 10 seconds starts now. The correct answer is pacing. Number 4. The rating of blank scale was developed by Swedish researcher Gunnar Borg in 1982 to determine an individual's level of exertion during physical activity. Your 10 seconds starts now. The correct answer is perceived exertion. Number 5. Mini blank research uses the usual degree of beats in beat per minutes, BPM. Your 10 seconds to answer starts now. The correct answer is heart rate. Now, let's proceed to activity 2 about my heartbeat. You are going to assess yourself through performing any folk dance of your choice. Identify the RPE scale by knowing your exertion felt and compute for your heartbeat. The scale ranges from 6 to 20, 6 being the least amount of exertion and 20 being the maximum level of exertion. Write your total heartbeat below. If you engage in dance exercise, your ideal RPE is between 15 to 20. It's up to your exertion on how do you feel with the exertion you exerted. And for our last activity, which is essay, answer this question comprehensively. As a student, how will you show your appreciation on the importance of analyzing the physiological indicator in doing VPS. Write your answers in your activity notebook. From today's lesson, think and reflect from these questions. Write your answers in your activity notebook. The first one is, what are the physiological indicators? The last one is, how to get your estimated heart rate. Alright, you're doing great. I hope you've learned a lot from today's discussion, and I am very happy for your participation. Make sure to answer the remaining activities in your activity sheets. Once again, this is Teacher Susan. And that ends our lesson on analyzing physiological indicators in Physical Education 12. Have a great day.